Let's say start test. It will ask for the search term. Enter search term as chat GPT, and our test is expecting chat GPT to be the first result. So as soon as I enter start test, you can see automatically the test execution started here, and I have got a request ID that I can use to query the results. Now if I go and say get results, it's asking for test ID. Okay, let me provide the request ID. Okay, I have the Cucumber report here and the test completed successfully. Okay, now Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to explore how AI chatbot can simplify and automate your testing processes. We can easily trigger tests, get instant feedback, and streamline your entire workflow. Without waiting any further, let's dive in. For today, we will be using a test automation example which is created in Java and Selenium. And for AI chatbots, we are going to use a tool from Google called Dialogflow. What is Dialogflow? Dialogflow is a comprehensive development suite from Google which is designed to build conversational interfaces such as chatbots and voice apps. Talking about the features, NLM is one of the best features. It is able to understand the different phrases that user inputs. The second good feature about is intent recognition. Intent is essentially, when you are putting in something in form of a text or sentence, it is able to figure out, what is the intent of that sentence. For example, if you want to run a test versus you want to get results. The third prominent feature is integration. It offers out-of-box integration with Facebook Messenger, Google Assistant, and other, applications like that. And then it also, has machine learning integrated with time. As you interact more with the tool, it will automatically enhance its repository. And the best part, it is supported by Google. Let's have a look at the test that we are going to use today for demonstration. So right in front of you is a Cucumber test. I have just used Cucumber to make it very straightforward and self-explanatory. What the test is doing, it is launching Google. It is searching for a term that I will be passing through command line or through terminal, and then I'll be checking the first heading to contain a word called chat GPT. So let's try running the test once. So if I go in this repository and write maven test, so what will happen, it will run the test. So okay, what we are passing here, let me show you that also. So if you go through the code, this is the code that I have put together. Very straightforward, simple code. The first thing is we are just setting up the browser. So I'm running this on Linux, so I'm running it in headless mode. Then I'm just launching the browser. Here I'm just looking for a for a parameter from a system property. If it's not present, I'm passing ChatGPT as a default value. So when I ran maven test, so what essentially happened, we didn't pass anything from command line, so ChatGPT was passed, and the first result was checked whether it contained ChatGPT or not. Let me just quickly go and do it for you. If I go to google.com and search ChatGPT, the first result contains ChatGPT, and that is what we are validating. Now let's check it out. What happens if I pass this system variable through command line and let it be Himanshu? So no way it's going to return ChatGPT. So our expectation is the test should fail, right? So it will run quickly. It's again, as I told you, okay. So it's a test case failed. The assertion failed, right? ChatGPT is not found. So this test is very straightforward. That is something we are going to use for our demonstration. Okay, now let's look at Dialogflow interface. So this is the Dialogflow interface that you get after you register your account on Google. So I won't go through the process. It's a standard process to register your account. Register the account and then input that your credit card information, enable API. So that's pretty standard for any Google services. So once you have done all that, you will land on this page, and on this page the first thing you have to do is create agent. That is the option you will get. So simply go give it a name and click on create. After, it will take some couple of seconds. Once that agent is created, the page will be refreshed and you will be redirected to the intents part. So what is intent? So when we talk about chatbot and performing actions, essentially what we want to do here is when we type something, the chat box should be able to understand what we are intending to do there. So that is what intents are. So for today, the example we are going to demonstrate today is running a test and getting the results. So the first intent is user should be able to provide a query term for that Google search, and the test should execute. And the second part is to get the results. So we have divided into two parts. The reason is, since we are using a chat box and we don't want to wait forever for test to execute, right? Because test might be of 2 minutes, 20 seconds or 2 hours, right? So what the approach we have done is simply execute a test. The test will return a test ID kind of thing, request ID kind of thing, back to the user. User can use that ID to get the results back, right? So that is all about intent. Let's have a look at it, how I have already configured it so far. So if I go to this configured chat box, you will see there are two new intents here. These are the custom intents I have created. These one come automatically when you create an agent. So if you go to run test, the sections that I have updated. First thing, I have renamed the intent name. Then I have added a parameter which is search term. That is what I am sending to my test to perform a search. Then in the entity part, you have to enter sys.any. You can go through the documentation to understand it in details. And the prompt that we are going to ask user, what we are going to ask user to enter, right? And the third thing that you have to update is enable webhook call for this intent. So the way the Dialogflow talks to my test is through webhooks. I'll show you how I have implemented webhooks in my test suite, but this is the setup I'm doing here, right? Enable webhook call for this intent. Similarly, I have created another intent which is get test results. So as I told you, right, we will be having a request ID. So rename the intent, define a parameter that we will be requesting our server to get the results back, and then again enable webhook call for this intent, because in both the cases when we key in some kind of phrase and chatbox is able to interpret it, it will automatically connect it with an intent, and that intent will then take the required action. So these are the two things I have filled here. The next thing that I have updated is fulfillment. In fulfillment, nothing apart from entering a URL of my webhook. Now let me go back and show you how we have set up a server which is accepting webhooks, and then you get more clarity around it. Before going forward with the understanding how we have set up webhook server, just to be on the same page, let's understand what webhooks are. In a very simple language, it's a way one application provides a real-time update to another application, and based on that update, application go and get detailed information, right? That's a real world scenario I'm talking about. For example, you make a payment on Razorpay. Razorpay sends a webhook to your website informing you, there is a payment which has been made and here's the request ID. and based on the request ID you can go and fetch the complete details of that payment, how it was made, who made it, against what order. So that way, instead of going and checking Razorpay website for the payments made throughout the day, what you can do is we can have a webhook in place which automatically informs you as soon as any payment is made, and you can take a required action. So that is what normally webhooks are used for. Now what we need to do is we need to define a webhook. Basically it's a URL which can be reached by Dialogflow. So what essentially will happen, we will set up a server, define a URL, provide that URL to Dialogflow, and what it can do is it can call that URL and send any required information that it wants to send to us, right? So normally it's a kind of a post request that is being sent over webhook with some body. So how we have defined it, we have used Spark for that. So we have defined a port. This is the endpoint, which is essentially a post endpoint. We are accepting the request and response here. So whosoever calls this webhook, whatever body it passes, we are going to parse it. So in this case, we know it's Dialogflow, so we already know what kind of request it passes, what kind of body it passes. So we have already, based on that, we have already passed the inputs, right? So what essentially we are looking forward to is we are looking for intent name. So if it is run test, then we are also looking for search term, and right, if it is get test results, then what we are looking for is the request ID of the test that was executed earlier, right? Otherwise we are prompting for an error, and based on whatever is being provided in the intent part, we are performing actions, right? In case of you are running a test, we are passing the request ID back to the chat box, right? Similarly, if you are fetching the results, we need that request ID, and based on that request ID, we are giving the results back, right? Then if it's run test, we are going to trigger the run test from here itself, and we are interacting with Maven to perform all the actions. I'll share this code over maybe Git or in the discussion part. Just let me know or leave a comment if you need this repository to be shared, right? And then in addition to sending the request ID, we also want that the Cucumber URL is also returned to the user of the executed test, and based on the execution results, we are giving the summary comment to the user. So this is how we have set up the web server. Now let's look at it, how it works. Okay, let's start the server now. So in order to start the server, simply run this command, clean compile. Then you have to start this main class to get the server running. So once you start the server, you can see it is now listening to localhost 000 is essentially localhost, and 4576 is the port. As I have told you earlier, this machine is sitting on sitting on a Linux server which is in my network, but it's not the same machine that I am using right now. So I cannot now to access this localhost. There are two ways. Either I SSH into that machine, like I'm already I'm already logged into this machine through terminal, and then I can simply call a curl command and run it on localhost like this, right? Other way out is I can run it using the IP of that machine. So let's follow the second approach. What I'll do is I'll go and import, since it's on my local network. I know the machine IP is 192.168.1.158, right? And as you had seen in the code, we have this two things that we are passing. One is intent, another is search term. Now if I click on send, look, as soon as I click on send, the webhook was sent to our web server, and based on the terms that we have sent, the test execution started. Right? Now let's double check it, if it's actually working from here only. So what I'm doing is I'm sending a term which is not going to be on the first page and it should fail. So the tests are already started and you can see assertion failed, ChatGPT was not found. So this is how normally, this webhook will work. Now the next interesting thing that we have to do is we need to give Dialogflow access to this URL. As we know, this URL is a local IP. It won't be accessible over internet. So what we are going to use is NGrok. I'm not sure if you know about NGrok, but NGrok is essentially something which we can use to get a public IP for our local machine for these kind of scenarios while development or testing something out. So I won't go into details of NGrok, but we will just initiate the session, and what it will give us is a public DNS, and that we will use to replace this IP here. Let's do it now. So this is NGrok. You can create your free account here, and wherever you want to test your application with the live URL, you can utilize this. So I'm not scrolling the page from top because I have my authentication token here. So you have to simply log in, install it, and it will give you a authentication. You have to run that command. After that, you have to basically send this command to map the port that you want to be accessible through the URL. Service is running on 4567. So all we need to do is we have to simply pass this URL on the terminal, and automatically we will get this URL, which will be a live URL. So now we have to give this URL /webhook in Dialogflow. Let's do it. Okay, now let's get ready for the magic. So we will paste that URL that we got from there /webhook and click on save, and we are all set. Now to test it, we have to go to integrations. We will use the default messenger they have. So let's click on try it now and let's see how it works. For better visibility, I have opened Chatbot and my web server together for better understanding. So let's say start test. It will ask for the search term. I enter search term as ChatGPT, and our test is expecting ChatGPT to be the first result. So as soon as I enter start test, you can see automatically the test execution started here, and I have got a request ID that I can use to query the results. Now if I go and say get results, it's asking for test ID. Okay, let me provide the request ID. Okay, I have the Cucumber report here and the test completed successfully. Okay, now let's do one thing. Let's enter something which won't return ChatGPT as first result. So if I say run test and let me enter Himanshu this time. So expectation is the test should be triggered, which is done on the right side. I have the request ID. Let me just copy it. Get results. As you can see, the results failed. It's asking for me for the ID that we had used as a parameter. Test failed, and we can go and check the reports here. So this is essentially how this chatbot is created using Dialogflow, and you can create different kind of applications or interfaces or chat boxes to entertain different use cases. So we have built a chat box that integrates with the Java webhook server to run automated tests and fetch results. This setup can be significantly streamlined to your testing workflow and make it more interactive. And this is just a POC, like, you can build different 100 workflows, chatbots based on the scenarios that you are dealing with. If you found this tutorial helpful, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe for more content like this. Thanks for watching.